How's it going, everybody? It's DanFromHali back with another reaction video for you today. And it is time for Home Free's Warmest Winter. You've been asking for it. Here it is as part of my holiday lineup. I've been recording a whole lot of Home Free songs today. This is not just the last Home Free song that I'm recording today, but my last song of the day. So hopefully this one is a doozy. I'm sure it is, because Home Free never lets you down, right? Alright guys, so you know what it is? It's Warmest Winter. I don't know if this is a cover or not. It seems like it might be an original just by the look of the description that I quickly took a glance at. But you don't know until you dive in. Regardless, I don't think I've ever heard the song called Warmest Winter before. So I'm assuming it was also the title of their album, correct? Warmest Winter. So yeah, it's likely a Home Free original. I say that, but if I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments section. But we're about to find out, because I'm going to pull this up and press play right now. Okay.
King Cole and mistletoe, snow is falling down, family knocking on the door. I still feel it now, like yesterday, from years away. Together was all we needed to be, how I love to dream about it. Whenever I need, I always recall the warmest winter of all. Dinner's done, it's time for fudge and stories by the fire. Grandpa tells us how they met and how she changed his life. Whoa. I was small enough to hold, I pretended I was cold, so she'd hold me till I fell asleep. Together was all we needed to be, how I love to dream about it. Whenever I need, I always recall the warmest winter. In every December, I try to remember only the best from days gone by. Oh, we try.
This is really good. This is a very sweet song. I'm assuming, and my tear ducts are also assuming, that the song is written for Austin's grandmother. It's very nice. I like how respectful that the whole presentation behind them looks. It seems very, very sincere. Austin carrying the solo for the song itself. Just sounds right. I love the way that I love the way that his enunciation of every syllable comes across in the the rhythm and the tone of the song itself. But the backing vocals here, as uncomplicated as they can be, are nothing to discount either, because Home Free are a unit, right? They're not just one person. It's all for one for all type of situation. It's not just about one person. Like I said, it's about the group. It's about the unit, and how they sound together is what the song really, really. You know what I'm trying to say? Actually, what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to give myself some space before I really break down crying. So I'm just kind of delaying pressing the play button. All right, I think we're good. But we'll see.
Grandpa's giving thanks to God, and we're all holding hands. Grandma's been gone 5 years now, we're missing her again. Together was all we needed to be. How I love to dream about it. Whenever I need, I always recall. Together was all we needed to be. How I love to dream about it. Whenever I need, I always recall. The warmest winter. Lord knows we miss her. And the warmest winter of all.
I've already done that one. Well, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I'm a little choked up here. Gotta be honest with you. That's okay. I mean, it's a good kind of choked up, right? When you think of good memories and it makes you well up like that, there's nothing wrong with that, and you should let it out. Emotion's good. So I'm not 100% sure if the people that follow me watch all of my content or not, and I'm not sure how much of a story I want to retread, because some of you that have already heard this story might just tune out and say, flubber off. But I'll tell as much as I can while trying to be brief about it and not go into too many details. So, I when I was younger, I didn't know my real father. In fact, I didn't know the difference between a stepfather, real father, whatever. But it was my stepfather that raised me, and I spoke about him in a reaction video that I had prior as well, and how much his raising me and how much our relationship has changed over the years to become something truly positive and truly special. But when I got older and started to become a little bit more rebellious, I had a fight with my father, and I accidentally said, "You're not my dad." I didn't mean it as in "you're not my dad." I meant it in the way as a real father wouldn't talk to his kid in this way. It was meant to be more cutting than disparaging. As kids do, not knowing that. Because again, I didn't know the difference. I didn't care to know the difference because this is the man that raised me. He's the person that's been in my life. I had no reason to think otherwise, right? I really didn't care. But after things had calmed down, I guess Dad asked my mom to talk to me, and that's when I found out who my real dad was. And he's still around, not as much as I would like him to be. He had a different brand of love, and he's still a good man. My biological father. I mean, we don't have the relationship that we once did. We've kind of fallen apart in the last few years. But from the time that I found out who he was and that he existed, up until just a few years ago, we had a pretty close relationship. But along with that came me finding out that I had a living grandmother. So my mother's mother died just shortly before my second birthday, or on my second birthday. I forget which. I think it might have been on the day that we were supposed to celebrate that we were going to have my second birthday party, is the day that she passed. And I never got to meet my father's my stepfather. For all intents and purposes, I call him father. He's my dad. I never got to meet his parents. I've seen pictures and stuff, and I'm told that they're wonderful people, but finding out that I had a living grandmother that lived down the street from where I grew up, it just meant the world to me. So I have lunch at her house once a week. I was lucky enough to live close enough to school that during the lunch hour I could go and I could have lunch somewhere and come back. So once a week I would go over to Nanny's place and we'd have lunch. And at least one Sunday a month, for a while it was almost every single Sunday I would spend over at Nanny's. I'd go to church, and then after church she would have the whole family, and man, what a big family I have. It was so big, and getting to learn all these people and how many cousins I had, and aunts and uncles. It was overwhelming, but overwhelmingly positive. So every Sunday we'd go over and there'd be baked goods. They'd have biscuits, and they'd have roast, and they'd have sweets, and they'd have everything. It would be a huge scoff of food ready and waiting for you at Nanny's house, like it should be. And it was no different. It was actually bigger at Christmas. And this house, I mean, I want to say the kitchen is smaller than this room that I'm in here. The house is about the size of my 2-bedroom apartment. Nothing huge, but I mean, nothing to laugh. I have a sizable apartment, but certainly nothing to fit the size, the big family that they have. I have so many aunts and uncles, and they were raised in a small house. And here on Christmas, these aunts and uncles, at least the ones that were living, there's only a couple that have passed away from now, knock on wood. I know it happens to everybody, but I'm not ready to say goodbye to everybody just yet either. All these aunts and uncles and the cousins and the great cousins, the second and the third and the ninth and the millionth cousins. I've lost count of how many I have, would show up after Christmas in droves. And we would all gather around in this tiny kitchen in the living room, which is probably about the size of my room that I'm in right now. And there'd be no room for anybody, but Nanny always made sure that there was room for me. Unfortunately, I didn't know her for very long. And I wasn't here when she got sick. I was actually over. I was over in Hamburg, in Germany, when she got sick, and then she passed. I found out that she passed, and so I came back, and it wasn't the greatest thing in the world. I actually thought about not attending her service because I was jet lagged, and I really didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be around that. I wasn't used to death. And I wasn't ready to say goodbye to my grandmother. But so I showed up. To the funeral, and I was actually a pallbearer, so I helped carry her to her final resting place. Uh, which I mean, that's an important part of the whole ceremony, of course. So I did that, and that was actually the last time that I had seen many of the family. A lot of it has to do with myself. For a while they still had Sunday dinner over at Nanny's place after church, but it just wasn't the same. I just couldn't do it without her because I wasn't ready. And same with Christmases. That was the last Christmas that I'd ever seen her. And unfortunately, as things went on, I got a little bit older and I stopped going over for lunch and I stopped visiting her as much as I did. I mean, I still came by. I still came by when I could. I never made it feel like a chore. I genuinely loved spending time with her, even as I was maturing, even in high school and all that stuff. She meant the world to me. It was a safe place. It was somewhere where I cherished being. She was so funny. She was a great human being. Those Christmases, those Christmases at her place on on Christmas Eve after Christmas Eve mass, that's where that's where I was the warmest, where I was the happiest. I mean, I was happy with my family too, like my immediate family, like mom and dad. But for God's sake, finding out that you have a living grandmother that you can spend time with, that wanted to make up for lost time and get to know you, and she was genuinely there for me. Once I had that, that was my favorite part of Christmas. It wasn't the presents. It was spending time with her during Christmas, and having dinner with her and the family, and getting to see everybody, this big family that I didn't know. So, I mean, that's been a huge part of my adulthood too. I'm 34. Unfortunately, I don't have kids, at least as of yet. But being a dad, especially somebody that didn't grow up actually knowing their biological father, or how important um, having that family and having a connection to a family was, and having these big moments and being able to teach those things that a kid needs to be taught. I missed out on a lot during a good portion of my childhood, and it's this moment. It's Christmas at Nanny's that stands out the most as like that defining moment of what family is, and holiday tradition and all that stuff, because it was always so positive and so inviting. God. Just want to have it again someday. Or to be able to give that, you know? Alright, that's enough. Whew. Well, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you enjoyed my reaction to this video, because I sure didn't. Again, it's a good thing. It's a good tier. It's reminiscing, so it's all fine. I'm still in high spirits, I promise. It's just, you know, it's that time of the year when I remember that she's looking down and all that fun stuff. So I'm glad I did this. If you enjoy this, let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, give me a big like, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. I'm gonna be seeing you real soon with some more reaction videos. But until then, guys,